So um, in object-oriented programming, everything is based on this idea of a class. And a class is a model or a blueprint of something that we create in Python. Now, as I start to talk about these things, it's pretty inevitable that if you're new to object-oriented programming, this is going to feel kind of abstract and hard to wrap your mind around. But the more you use it and the more you actually develop using object-oriented programming methodology, the more it'll make sense to you. So just bear with me and try to follow the best you can. And then as you start to use it, it'll make a lot more sense to you, I promise. So when we talk about a class, we're talking about a blueprint of something in Python. Okay, a class basically does two things. It groups data and methods together. The data is often referred to as properties, but what you can think of and when you think of a property is you can think of just a variable that belongs to an instance of that object. It'll make sense in a minute, but that variable belongs to that object. So each time we create an object using that blueprint, it has its own copy of that variable or that property associated with it. A method is something that the object can do, or the class spells out that the object can do. And a method is essentially a function that belongs to that object in the same way that a property is a variable that belongs to that project or that object. When we use a class to create something, it's called an instance. Sometimes we refer to it as an object as well. So classes are the blueprint. An instance or an object is what we make from that blueprint. So if we're talking about like building cars, for example, right? When we go to a Ford factory, there's some blueprint somewhere, probably on a computer, that specifies how each car is made, how many wheels it has, what shape it is, what parts it has, all that stuff. That blueprint is not the car. That blueprint tells what the car has, what it can do, how it's made, all of that stuff. We use that blueprint to make like 800 cars a month or whatever. Each of those cars has the same stuff, has the same number of wheels, has the same shape, has the same properties, basically, and can do the same things. Drive, forward, backwards, steer, all of those things would be the methods of that car if we're using that model.